Okay, so the San Antonio Spurs at 38 go with Cam Jones at this spot, a guard. So for the people still vying to find a backup center for the Raptors, the 39th overall pick, if the Raptors were interested in a center right now, the Spurs have not taken that center away from us. So player that some guys have mentioned in the chat are the Raptors looking at Maxime Reynaud at this spot, had some first-round pick potential. Are they looking at any other potential centers? Rocco Zikarsky, that's how you say it. Some options here. Yes, a center is still needed for the Raptors, but like Bobby Webster said yesterday after selecting Colin Murray-Boyles, the Raptors are in talent acquisition mode. They are drafting for the best available player. They are not worried about fit. If they are worried about fit, Common Malawach would have probably been selected by the Raptors yesterday at 9th overall. They're not worried about that. They're worried about best talent. So we'll see who they look for in this spot. That Cam Jones pick, selected by the Spurs for the Indiana Pacers. My apologies. Indiana getting that pick there. So let's see where the Raptors go here. 3:30 on the clock for them to make a decision. A lot of different ways the Raps can go about this one. So, quite a few of the centers available here that people have mentioned in the chat. A lot of them not super sound defensively. Not saying that it's a horrible thing, but it's not typically Toronto's MO to go for a center or any position really, where they did draft Grady Dick respectfully. Not the Raptors' typical MO to go for a player, especially in these areas, that's not going to be a sound defender. And if they go for a center, they've often looked for one that has a little bit more switchability. Like even Christian Koloko, they mentioned right away they were looking forward to see the switchability progress as a defender. Now, obviously, he's not with the team anymore, and we wouldn't be maybe in as much of a situation to need a center. But it would not shock me if the Raptors did not go for a center in this position here. We will see. They do have Ulrich Shamche in the pipeline, so they've got the opportunity to wait out on him potentially for development. So I don't see a need to chase a center here. Go for a player you think is the best chance of being able to provide something for this team. Maybe not even quite this year, but maybe down the line as well. We'll see. Now, with all due respect, I don't imagine Colin Castleton is making the roster. We'll see. And if he does, I don't envision a big role for him. I don't think there's going to be space for Caston. Look, good luck to him. Be great if he came along, but no, I'm not buying into that at all. I was reclining in the chair, closed my eyes, had a nice AH power nap. Well, you're up just in time for the Raptors at pick number 39. Koloko, yes, still with the Lakers. Kind of sad he went there and didn't have a role at all. Felt like he would have gotten one if he had stayed with the Raptors. But we left ourselves susceptible to him leaving, when we waived him and everything. All right, the pick is in for the Toronto Raptors. 50 seconds on the clock. We'll see if they may just go early, but 50 seconds before Mark Tatum comes out to announce the selection. So, Maxime Reynaud, Tyrese Proctor, Markovic, couple of guys that the Raptors could be interested in here. Proctor, a bigger guard. Reynaud, 7-foot center with a lot of scoring pedigree, especially as a shooter, despite being 7 feet tall. Same for Markovic, 6'11", good shooter, but those two bigs, not great defenders, so it's not really in Toronto's typical. It wouldn't be typical Toronto fashion to go for a player like that. So we'll see. Let's see who the Raptors are going with. Mark Tatum walking out to announce the 39th overall pick for the Raptors. Oh. The Raptors select. All right. The Raptors go for a guard. They go for Alijah Martin. Is he smiling? Is he upset? What's the reaction? He smiled a little bit, but like he's not jumping for joy. I don't know, Raptors fans. Is that enough of a reaction from him, or are we gonna spam his Instagram comments with trade this guy? So Toronto go with Alijah Martin. Not super atypical for the Raptors to go in this direction. They go for a senior out of Florida, 23 and a half years old. So a much more polished product to take in this position. And a player in Alijah Martin here who has had success playing in NCAA with a little bit of Florida Atlantic, transferred over to Florida, done enough there to get himself into draft consideration, ends up with the Raptors here. So we'll see. Some good defensive stuff from him, some good toughness out of him. That's often what the Raptors have looked for in this position, but a little bit undersized. So especially for somebody who's been listed as a 2 guard in college. So maybe a little bit more as a point guard here. 6'3" with a 6'7.5" wingspan. Let me hear what he has to say here. Yeah, that's right. Champion with Florida last season, which probably got him into these considerations to be selected here. Yeah, the Raptors, especially with the second round as of late, you look at Jamal Shead and the way they talked about drafting Jamal Shead last season. They're looking for a certain element of mentality to go in these spots. They're looking for the certain sort of mentality to bring into the team. That winning mentality, that gritty mentality. Somebody's going to work for everything in the NBA. Somebody can provide something on the defensive end in the NBA as well. So they're going to go for Alijah Martin here. And honestly, for a lot of guys that are selected in the second round, you do have to feel like Toronto is one of the better destinations to fall. As long as you put your nationality bias aside here. The Raptors have had a long track record of success with development projects, particularly coming out of the Raptors 905. Somebody that is excellent about the Raptors 905, it is that their facilities are like a half-hour drive away from the OVO Athletic Center. So you're able to do a lot of work with the Raptors in the NBA. You're able to do a lot of work with the Raptors 905 in Mississauga. Oftentimes, you're able to do double duty. So we'll see what sort of role Alijah Martin can carve out for himself, because Jamal Shead was a bit of an undersized guard when the Raptors drafted him. We wondered, if he would be a guy getting a lot of G League minutes. Turned out he didn't get any G League minutes because the Raptors needed him in the NBA. They needed some additional help. So if Alijah Martin can come in, show that resilience, show that toughness, show that winning mentality, we'll see if he is able to win over any minutes. The Raptors bench is a little bit more filled going into this season than it was last season. Such a little bit of a tall task. But there's room for lengthy players in these spots. So perhaps we could see him get some point guard minutes for the Raptors. Perhaps, some of the shooting can help if he can sharpen that up a little bit more, shooting 35% from three in his final college season. But the Raptors aren't afraid to take polished products here. They just want to take the best player available. And in this case, they thought it was Alijah Martin. So congratulations to him. 5-year college player, worked very, very hard, it seems, to get to this position, to be able to have his name called on draft night. So for a guy that's willing to graft and fight to get to a point where somebody's announcing his name on draft night, you got to give props to that. So the Raptors, again, fortifying that winning mentality and trying to really instill that winning culture. I think they've got a player here, it seems, who is going to be able to help them do that out the gate. And maybe some time with 905. But, hey, we'll see. Maybe some time in the NBA as well.